Good evening, everyone. It's 6 p.m. on February the 6th, and the Bel Air Beach City Council meeting will now come to order. In our last work session, this council decided to include an invocation prayer and pledge of allegiance led by a different council member at each meeting. This month is Council Member Frank Bankert. Mr. Bankert, you have the floor.
Dear God and our Heavenly Father, let us pray that this council will make wise and godly decisions which are always in the best interest of this community and your people. Let us pray that you will protect our police and all first responders and the people of Bel Air Beach. Let us pray that you will protect your beautiful masterpiece of this island from any storms or mishaps. And let us pray that all people find peace with one another, set aside their differences, and promote and glorify your name. In Jesus' name, your Son, I pray. Amen.
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 Mr. Bankert, please continue and lead us in the pledge.
Please all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Bankert. Ms. Gentry, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Frank Bankert,
present.
Councilmember Belinda Livingstone,
Present.
Councilmember Leslie Notero,
Here.
Councilmember Lloyd Roberts,
Here.
Councilmember Mike Zabel,
Here.
Mayor Dave Gaddis,
Here.
City Manager Kyle Reefler,
Here.
City Attorney Randy Mora,
Present.
and Vice Mayor Jody Shirley was unable to attend.
Thank you, Patty. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Motion made by Frank Bankert. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Zabel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Now we move to citizen comments. If any citizen would like to address the council about a topic not already on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be called on. We ask that you limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. If any council member would like to respond to citizens' comments, please hold your responses until we reach council comments at the end of the meeting. Would any citizens like to address the council? Yes, sir. Please come up to the podium, give your name and address, and
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Aaron Glantz. I just want to take a moment of your time to introduce myself. Recently, I accepted a position here with the City of Bel Air Beach as the Community Services Administrator. That's the reason why I came in this evening. Just wanted to show my face and can't wait to meet you at some point during my time here with the city.
thank you, Mr. Glantz. Very nice to meet you. Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, Ms. Belinda.
Everyone, good evening. Tammy Lavenda, 97 Harbor Drive. Just want to say a couple things representing the Bel Air Beach Community Foundation. A couple updates and announcements. So far our brick program has been going very well. We've had enough brick orders to do our first square, so that should be installed shortly. One new addition, if you if you own your own company or if you have your own logo, you can, for an additional $10, put your own logo as the stamp on the brick. And if you have any questions about that, there's more details on our website, which isn't up there yet, but second thing, we're going to have our first fundraiser on April 22nd. It's a little bit different from events that we've had in the past. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. on a Saturday. It will be an indoor event. It's going to be an Earth Day Sunset Social celebration. We're going to have a DJ. Clean Eats is going to be here with the food. We're going to have a cash bar. And it's going to be a $10 minimum entry fee for or donation for entry fee. And the fundraiser is to raise money for the 16th Street kayak launch, which has been requested many times, but hopefully we raise enough money to get that installed. The next thing I'd like to talk about is February is Furry Friends in February. It's a drive for the Pinellas County Animal Shelter. So there is more information on our website, and there are 2 boxes in the lobby of City Hall, and they have a list of things that they're requesting. As you know, Frank Bankert in City Council, he volunteers there, and so he mentioned at beach cleanup one day that there was a need. So we thought that we would do a drive during the month of February. Keep Pinellas Beautiful. I posted about this. Our first bridge cleanup was very successful. We had 22 volunteers, which was wonderful. And we collected about 40 bags of trash from under the bridge. Please look for our new sign. They should be installing it on the causeway shortly, and our next cleanup is in April. And then last but not least, the receipts. If you donated in 2022, all the receipts have been sent out. If you did not get your donation receipt, please just reach out for Wendy, Nicole, or I, and we'll be happy to get that to you. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would any other citizens like to speak? All right, so that closes citizen comments. Now we're on to item 3. We have a presentation from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, beginning with law enforcement monthly report.
Good evening to everyone. Sergeant Roy Switch with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and I am here presenting the activity for December of 2022 under the UCR property and person crimes. Overall, I would like to say that it was a slow month, but unfortunately, if you weren't aware, we had a lot of vehicle burglaries one weekend during the month of December. It was the weekend, I believe, of December 10th and 11th. So with that being said, there was also one motor vehicle theft related to that burglary where a key was left inside an unlocked vehicle. So with that being said, again, we as the Sheriff's Office strongly encourage residents and visitors to make sure they lock their doors and not leave any valuables inside. If we move along to the arrest section, there were a total of 4 people that were arrested within the city. And in looking at the activity, that looked like that was transient activity, a couple of DUIs and a DWLSR. Under deputy activity, you'll see that there were a total of 720 events in the city. Leading that were directed patrols and traffic activity. Traffic enforcement. And then there was 1 crash in the city, and that was located at Gulf Boulevard and 7th Street. And then there were a total of 174 combined citations and warnings issued within the city. And that is all I have.
Questions from the council? Mr. Bankert.
There's car burglaries back on December 10th and 11th. Was anyone apprehended or caught?
In the research that I did, there has not yet been anybody apprehended. The detectives are following up on any leads, looking at video evidence and whatever they can find to go from there.
I just want to comment that the deputies were going up and down your deputies were going up and down the street, knocking on everybody's door. I thought that was just great. I mean, really concerned about it.
Well, that is obviously, and I wasn't working that weekend. My deputies weren't working that weekend, but I enjoy, as part of routine patrol, driving up and down every street within the city. And I can tell you that Deputy Dean also enjoys driving up and down the city, sits out on Gulf Boulevard. So unfortunately, we can't be everywhere. So that's where we strongly encourage residents to make sure that they lock their doors and not leave any valuables inside.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No. Thank you very much, Sergeant.
Thank you.
All right, now we're on to code enforcement monthly report. Deputy Klapka.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, citizens, Deputy Klapka. For the record, as you see in your reports, we again, very busy for the month of January. Some of the things that we did take care of is we had 3 properties within Bel Air Beach that we had some major issues on. one at 12th and Golf, one on 17th and one on 21st. With the help of Kyle, we issued letters and some cleaned up. And again, throughout the city, also trying to get some more of the citizens to comply with local ordinances. Had a few extra issues with permits again, unlicensed contractors. But again, we were working on that with the building department and the Pinellas County Construction Licensing Board.
Questions or comments from the council? Yeah, Mr. Zabel.
Looking down the list here, 109 13th Street. Was that mentioned on previous month reports of code violations?
109 13th.
Shows here's posted notice reference to violation.
Yes, that was an issue. They were having a pool installed there. And so there's a sediment bag that had to be changed. So we had some issues with that before.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? I did notice that we received more information than we usually do, which is nice. I'm sure it's a combined effort to put all this together, but this is incredible data and it's nice to see it.
Thank you. Well, the credit's got to go to Kyle. He's my teacher and we just kind of worked on these things together, but yes,
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, now we are on to item 4. This is a presentation from Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District by Chief Jeff Davidson. I have invited Jeff Davidson to begin giving us monthly reports again. So with that being said, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members and community. I'm Jeffrey Davidson, the fire chief for Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District, proudly serving Bel Air Beach. On behalf of the entire district, I wanted to express my sincere thank you for the support on passing the referendum vote in November by 74%, which will allow us to continue to serve our residents in Bel Air Beach. We've been serving since 1951, so thank everybody very much for your support. There's a lot of activity in PSFRD as we continue to strengthen our organization. We're actively pursuing the assistance to firefighter grants through FEMA. And based on our population, we're eligible for up to $1 million in funding. And we're looking at all the items that meet the notice of funding opportunities requirements. The submissions are due this Friday. And the awards begin weekly in September. So we're submitting for new fire hose, extrication equipment, bunker gear, thermal imaging cameras, new Motorola radios, physical fitness equipment, many more things that firefighters need to do their jobs. In the upcoming months, I will be asking my board of commissioners to allow me to put out a RFP for fire station design and construction. We are conducting a study to verify the proper placement of the stations. And currently we are looking at a place for a new fire station at the very northern end of Indian Rocks Beach to better serve the city of Bel Air Beach. Our firefighters and paramedics recently saved the life of a commissioner in a neighboring town who had suffered a massive heart attack. Our replacement of the AED and CPR by the police chief who was there was very instrumental. My crews arrived in under 4 months and they performed advanced cardiac life support. And the patient was transported to a local hospital and he made a full recovery. Their commission honored my firefighters for their efforts. And then I submitted that to the John Leone Legacy Foundation. And our crews were chosen out of all of Pinellas County to receive an award at the First Responders Appreciation Dinner this Saturday. So I'm very proud of the hard work and professional services that our firefighters and paramedics always provide to our community. I would like to ask the commissioners here today, council members, to allow me to use the Bel Air Beach City Hall to do a public information session upcoming on the status of the emergency medical services for the beaches, particularly Bel Air Beach, and how the services need to be improved and would be funded by the county at no additional cost to our residents. If I could have your permission to coordinate a date that the hall is open, I'm looking at possibly February 27th, Monday night. And it would be open to questions, answers, and a presentation from anybody who would like to attend.
Thank you, Chief Davidson. Council, before I turn the floor over to you, does anyone have a problem with the chief working a date out with the city manager for this event? No? Okay. It sounds like you just need to reach out to the city manager and plan a date accordingly, and we look forward to that. Now, council, do you have any questions for the fire chief? No?
All right.
I have one. What was the response time on the event that you described to us?
The from notification to the fire department to at the patient was 4 minutes and 3 seconds, I believe. And that's one of the things that I want to explain in this presentation is the correlation between time and survival rates. You know, there's a lot of things that in the medical field where time is muscle if it's a cardiac event, or time is brain if it's a stroke event, and things that need to be done, and some things that are lacking in the system that have been lacking for quite some time. And I want to address how we can fix that so that we can have the best services for our residents and all of our visitors to keep everybody safe.
Thank you very much. That's an impressive time, and I hope that I never have to use your services, but if I do, I hope you're that close.
Yes, sir. I left a few business cards on the table. If anybody would like to get a hold of me ever, my email address and phone number is on there. You can call me at any time. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're up to item number 5. This is the city attorney's report. Mr. Mora, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the last few weeks, I had the occasion to meet with the manager on a few occasions on various items, one of which was facilitating 2 meetings with the Planning and Zoning Board in its capacity as your land planning association. So we continue to move forward potential comp plan amendments, as well as one of the ordinances that's before you this evening. As we approach discussing the ordinance this evening, it occurred to me that before our last meeting on the 21st, I had the opportunity to travel to St. Augustine and present to the Institute for Elected Municipal Officials, EMO. Your newest council member joined there and attended, and I had the opportunity to present on parliamentary procedure and the role of the city attorney. And one of the things that I talked to at some length, and that was only a few weeks after having given a similar presentation to the Volusia County Commission, was on the importance of debating the measure at hand and not the individual members or motives of your peers. Ostensibly, we are all here in service of the public trust. At the last meeting, and on at least one, likely 2 occasions that I can remember previously, there's been some suggestion that I produce work product for you with the sole purpose of generating lawsuits or some other profit mechanism for myself on the back end. I take my job very seriously. I take my oath to the Florida Bar. The oath I take as a constitutional officer, a charter officer in your communities. This is my livelihood. This is how I put food on the table. This is my good name. So it's important to me that you recognize that as I give you work product, I take no issue with you telling me that you're unsatisfied with the work product, that you think the policy should move in a different direction, be better framed, better phrased, approached differently, take into account factors that I may have in my fallible state of the human overlooked some factor. I'm happy to consider all of that. All of that is appropriate. I do take umbrage with the suggestion that I'm doing work driven by some profit motive, most especially because I truly believe in the altruism of what it is you folks do. I thank you for the work you do, because frankly, I don't do it. I get to tell you, man, that sounds like a tough decision. Tell me what you're going to say. And that's how this whole system works. I can't allow something as insidious as that to go unaddressed. And I did not wish to derail your work session as you debated an important matter to your community by addressing it in that moment. But it was something that to me, I felt needed addressing. So I appreciate the opportunity to address that during my report. Otherwise, I continue to work with the manager to advance the suggested revisions to the sign code, to advance your comp plan amendments through the LPA and any other issues as they present themselves. And I'm happy to answer any questions or address any concerns you may have. Thank you.
Council. Any questions for Mr. Moore? Yes, Mike Sabin.
Yeah, I just want to thank you personally. Looking at what you do for us and the beliefs, and if you're talking with you, I appreciate everything you do for this council. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate that. And I'm certainly not fishing for any compliments or anything of the sort, though I appreciate the gesture. I just wish to make clear that I can't let a statement like that go unaddressed.
Anyone else like to make a comment? No. All right, thank you for addressing that, and I appreciate your work also, and thank you for this report. All right, next we are up to item 6, which is the city manager's report. Mr. Riefler.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Starting off with the 12th and 13th Street project. We did on January 24th, get that valve I talked about in the last meeting replaced. It came in under warranty from the manufacturer. The staff got out there immediately, put it back in so that the check valve is functioning properly and they're not getting tide washing back into the streets. We came a little bit over budget that is on the agenda tonight for a budget amendment. I did get one of the quotes back from the televised for the cure in place lining. And for 2 pipes, we're looking at about $50,000. I want to see if I can get that out to bid, possibly in our next stormwater project. Because if we can get competitive pricing on that, it'll be useful to us when we need to do pipe repair. So hoping to tag that along on the bid. The undergrounding project. Right now, we're just waiting on the materials. Once Duke gets the materials stockpiled at the marina, same place as the last project, it'll take off pretty quickly with the conduit going in. The 7th Street boat ramp, I got a sketch drawing from the engineer. It was the last meeting you asked if there's some way we can make the ramp more functional for the residents. He recommended if we do anything, he at the end of the ramp in burlap, and he interlace, you'd say, so that the seams don't line up, and some filter fabric underneath it. And he says that's done in a lot of areas, and that'll just increase like the stability of the ground after the ramp. So I ordered all the supplies. My staff will be out there probably tomorrow morning finishing that up. After that, they replaced all the filter and the sod on January 26th. I think they did a beautiful job. Really excited to get the ramp open for the residents. For our 17th and 18th Streets project, the Citizens Advisory Chair Ron Saganik and I have been working pretty hard along with Heather, our financial advisor, and putting together projections for the next 5 years. And we've shared that with the financiers, and we're looking good to be approved for a loan. And we're at this point where we received one term sheet from one bank, and we're trying to get another from South State. So at that point, we're going to take it back to the CIC, and then you'll be hearing from us at one of these meetings for a presentation and proposal. Code enforcement. Like I said, I kind of revised the report. I tried to make it a little bit more visual, take out a lot of the check boxes that were in between all the cells, and relate it back to the survey we did. So what I did is I made Steve's report a drop-down list of the categories we talked about in our survey, so that he could select what where the issue fell, and then we could track it and then be able to put the numbers back when we resurvey. Another thing I noticed when I was looking at it is we kind of had like a start date and a close date, and if you looked at every violation, it was like it started and closed on the same day, and then we had this days open thing that didn't really apply to anything. So I reworked the sheet so that and instructed Steve that when, you know, his first citing or whatever of the violation, he keeps that date, and then when he goes back and closes it up, it bounces back around and shows the total days open. So it reflects the number that until the issue was solved. Like I said, I tried to put some graphs in here using Excel just to kind of give it an overview. If you're going to look at it real quick, you can see kind of the areas we're focusing on. And if there's any concerns from the council, I think, you know, you'll be able to see where the effort's getting focused and maybe ask questions or suggest some different things to focus on. The other graph, it's another pie graph. It's just up the streets. I think Steve does a pretty good job getting around the city pretty equally. But it just kind of lays out all the different streets he's hit. And then the last table I put, it was outstanding code violations. And this was actually an idea from a resident who asked, you know, what's going on with this issue? And how do we get information on it? And I was like, that's a very good point, because the code enforcement report, you know, only shows month to month and it doesn't track things that are outstanding. So I kind of put together this outstanding. I think it's good because, you know, so it shows the run up on fines so that just everyone's in the know. And, you know, let's, when code violation notices or hearings are sent out, so we can track it, and that keeps the days, so. The city hall generator, I got another option. It's it's a mobile unit, it's used. It's got a 1-year warranty. I asked if there's any extended warranty plan for that, but it's a diesel generator. And if we were to get, because in the past, if you remember, it was I think donated to the fire department, but we had a mobile generator that is what hooked up to the quick connect out there. So it's pretty much the same idea to run the whole building. If we use the same connection point, which would be in the back, it's a lower elevation, but it would be 97,000. Which is a lot lower than the original price we had on the natural gas generator. But if we want to, and as another option, because the parking lot's a higher area, and you know, if we get from flooding down in there, we can put the connection station where the crawl space is by the building in the front parking lot and pull it right up into there and hook it up. So it wouldn't be, we would be avoiding the cost of putting it up on a stand, and you know, we could tuck it away when we weren't using it.
May I ask where you would store a trailer generator at?
I'd back it up into the yard over there. It'd be a little tight, but we could do it.
All right.
We stockpile some materials there, so we just free that up. Gulf of Mexico buoy replacement. I have the permit. I am waiting on one more installation quote. Good news is I did find a contractor to do it at about 12,500 for the 16 buoys. So that's a lot lower than 20,000. And then as far as Bel Air Shore, I relayed the message to their town attorney, and she's taking it to the February 21st meeting, along the lines that if we are willing to fund the costs of the installation, the buoys and the maintenance, would they be willing to do the other necessary steps of changing their ordinance? So we'll see what comes back on that. Morgan Park parking lot is getting done this month. I just checked in with the contractor, try to get a date set up. We'll have to close the park, lease the parking lot for 2 days. Children's playground, that got the shipping date got pushed back to April 14th. It sounds like it's solid at this point. A little disappointing it's taking so long, but the used playset company is still interested in removing the old one, so I'm kind of keeping in touch. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Yes, Mr. Banker.
2 questions. Do you know the make of the generator?
It's a John Deere.
John Deere?
Yes.
So we probably can get a maintenance contract off of the local John Deere dealer.
Right. Everglades.
And I don't want to encroach on, I don't know if you're going to address this, Mr. Mayor, or not, but this letter up here on 109 13th Street, and it's in his city manager's report. Seems this guy's been here 8 years. And I guess he's not getting the gist of our short-term rentals or whatever.
This is, I wasn't planning on addressing it at all. This is just information.
Okay.
For the record, I think member Zabel was asking about the 109 13th Street, and that is a short-term rental, and it does have a hearing scheduled.
Okay.
This week.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the city manager? Yes, sir, Mr. Roberts.
So Kyle, on the extending the boat ramp on 7th Street. I'm just curious, so, and I should go down there myself to see it, but when it's low tide, is the end of the ramp still in the water? Or
When
is it
when the
out-
tide's very, very low, it really pulls back. I mean, you get that little island out there that it gets exposed.
Uh-huh.
So they're still gonna have to back far out into the water to launch a boat at that point.
Okay,
If that's what they want to do, it's possible, but it really does draw back.
okay. So the engineering firm has in mind some distance that they're going to extend those concrete bags, riprap bags.
Yep.
To
So-
allow boat trailers to go further.
They go further off
Yeah.
on a state, basically get down to the bottom of the submerged land and just without like a drop off or anything unstable.
Okay,
Now, as far as the water going back, if it really tides out, they're just gonna have to go back if they can.
okay,
The goal was to make sure that they didn't have a ledge that they would fall off of and they couldn't recover from it.
correct, right. The 17th and 18th Street Stormwater Project, so that's listed there as a single project, but we're really not pursuing that as a single project, is that correct?
That's correct. At this
Okay, good.
point, we want to pull a bond issue and a loan to
Right.
do all the projects together.
For all of them?
Yes.
Beautiful, okay. Okay, that was it, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? Mr. Reefler, I gave you a call a week or two ago about a situation where there was growth coming out into the street. It was a hazard and it was an eyesore. I won't mention what street it was, but it was an unfortunate situation where the homeowner, it was physically impossible for the homeowner to do anything about it. So I called Mr. Reefler and he took care of it. Him and his staff took care of it, and I greatly appreciate it, as I'm sure the residents do that surround that location. So thank you very much.
One more.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, thank you. On the 12th and 13th Street, I did see the contractor out there maybe a week or two ago where they were addressing some of the low spots in the gutter, which is wonderful. But it looks like, and I know you'd probably know more than I, because you're watching it more than I am, but it looks like kind of a domino effect where they would raise the gutter level to make the water move in a certain direction. It may have caused an additional problem upstream, for lack of a better term, in the gutter systems. But I know you're on top of that. So are they finished completely? Because I have still noticed some gutters that are holding water.
We're still holding the retainage, so I'll have the engineer go back and make sure.
Okay,
what they're
that's
doing,
what I
'cause
wanted to know. Thank
There
you.
was that one section, they put that flow line in that it was pretty much flat, didn't even have a flow line by the pond.
Okay.
But is there a specific area, 12th or 13th?
Yeah, well, they were working kind of on 12th,
Well,
close to the pond,
Mhm.
near the side of the pond. So they were working in there, raising it, which I'm sure that was a low spot. So they were trying to create a scenario where the water would move to one of the grates, which I'm sure it did. But in doing so, it sort of looked like, because they raised that, area to move the water, that some water upstream was now being held back. But something to just take a look at. And across the street, I did notice one thing that I meant to ask you before. One of the grates looks like, I guess they weren't removed during the original project. That is, for lack of a better term, it's rusty. Looks older. Right there at the turn, when you come in, when you're heading east on 12th, and you make a left-hand turn. What's that bay? Is it called Bay?
Yeah.
Right there on the left-hand side. It maybe that was one of those grades where we couldn't get them out. I'm not sure what the deal was there.
They should all be new grades and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? No? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Riefler. I appreciate all your hard work. Thank you. Up next, number 7, Patty Gentry.
I don't have a project update per se, but for personnel, you met Aaron and he's really jumped in with both feet. He's really enthusiastic. And then we made a offer of employment for an administrative assistant. So we're waiting for that process to go through, for more help in the front to help more residents. And we're really excited about that. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Patty? No? Thank you very much, Patty. All right, now we are up to the consent agenda. This is items 8 and 9. It's for approval of the January 9th, 2023 City Council meeting minutes and approval of the January 23rd, 2023 City Council work session minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion made by Frank Banker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Floyd Roberts. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda passes. All right, we are now on to the regular agenda. Item number 10. This is for consideration of the appointment of Mr. Mark Mariano as a Board of Adjustments alternate member. If Mr. Mariano is present, would he like to address the council?
Evening, council, mayor, thanks for having me. So recently moved to the city of Bel Air Beach approximately a year ago. Moved from the town of Bel Air, served on the planning board there for about 7 or 8 years. I have about 24-ish years of experience in land planning, city planning. I own my own real estate development company. Now I'm the CEO of another real estate development company. So I do bring a unique perspective and level of experience to the boards, and I do like to give back to the community and participate as a board member where I can. And when I moved in, I talked to Patty about any openings there weren't. Circled back, I don't know, towards the end of the year, asked again, and she said, yeah, there are 2, one for the Board of Adjustments, and then one for maybe a Parks and Rec board, which probably is less applicable to my experience level. So I sent the application in. And Ms. Gentry said, yeah, why don't you come in and meet the board? There is a alternative spot open. So I'm here to see if I could be appointed to the Board of Adjustments.
Thank you very much. First off, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Mariano. Yes, you
Mariano.
got it.
Okay, good. I'd like for you to stick around for just a few minutes. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Mariano? Yes, Mike Sable.
Are you pursuing any business within Bel Air Beach at this time?
No, we don't. We do multifamily residential apartment communities. That was my old company. Now we do multifamily, but it's single family rental, large scale, 350, 400 unit developments throughout Florida and 7 other states across the country. So no, nothing here.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Mariano, I heard a little bit about you, and apparently you were just grossly overqualified for this position. However, if you would like to stick around and work with us, we'll wait and see what the council says. And I appreciate you applying for the position. All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the citizens. You can have a seat, sir. Let's go to the citizens for comments. Would anyone like to comment? Yes, sir. Mike Kelly.
Evening, council. My name is Mike Kelly. I'm your Board of Adjustment Chairman. I've agreed that Mr. Mariano is very, very qualified for the position. I think the opportunity of our board to add him as an alternate member and potentially ultimately on the actual board is an advantage for Bel Air Beach. I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Mariano's development company, Mosaic, in the last 2 years at a commercial project in downtown St. Petersburg. Although I only had a couple of meetings with him pre-construction, working with the general contractor, the job went very smooth, and the staff and the experience that I had working with his firm was very, very positive. So I endorse the council to consider his appointment and recommend him to be added to our board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. All right, before we debate this appointment, I'm going to need a motion to move forward with this appointment.
So moved.
Motion made by Leslie Natero. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Zabel. Ms. Natero, you have the floor.
No further comments.
All right, would anyone else like to comment? No? All right, well, and if that's the case, Ms. Gentry, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
Councilmember Bankard,
Yes.
Councilmember Livingstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Notero. Yes. Councilmember Roberts,
Aye.
Councilmember Zabel,
Yes.
Mayor Gaddis.
Aye. So passes unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Mariano, and thank you for volunteering to serve the city of Bel Air Beach. All right, we're on to agenda item number 11. This is consideration of ordinance 23-01. Mr. Mora, would you please read the ordinance?
Happily, Mr. Mayor, this is ordinance 23-01. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bel Air Beach, Florida, amending section 94-220 pertaining to the table of designated living areas and housing setbacks, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. This has been a first reading of ordinance 23-01 by title only. Did you want to lead on presentation, or would you prefer I was? All right.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mora. Yes, you're about to give us a brief history of this ordinance and what it will accomplish.
Yes, there's been a few in the recent months, there's been a few hearings that have proceeded to variance, not based on any misrepresentations by a property owner, or perhaps not even based on staff oversight, but based on confusion with how the city's code should be administered. Half in the final row, it suggests
Thank you, and I apologize for stopping the flow.
All right. Would anyone else like to make a comment or a question? Yes, Mr. Roberts.
Kyle, I think that's a great idea in the future projects, and anything we can do to minimize the as needed phrase, so that we can tighten down on the budget and get closer at the end of the project. So I think that's great. In the future, we do that. So that's perfect.
I too appreciate the great amount of detail that you're giving us especially whenever you're asking for money. This is a very refreshing, and I'm sure all of us appreciate it. Do we have any more comments or questions before we take this to a vote? No? All right, Patty, would you mind calling the roll?
Councilmember Bankert,
Yes.
Councilmember Notaro,
Yes.
Councilmember Livingstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Aye.
Councilmember Zabel,
Aye.
Mayor Gaddis.
Aye. Perfect score tonight. Unanimous. Mr. Reefler, you are approved to amend the budget.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are on to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? I think we've pretty much covered everything in the city manager's report that was outstanding. All right. And now we are on to council member comments. This month, the computer has selected Councilmember Roberts.
All right.
You have the floor.
Is that like the lottery? Okay. So, actually, I do have something to say, Kyle, about the, on the 12th and 13th Street project. So for the, cured in place, pipe, for the two pipes that are actually that go to the outfalls into the, area that we've talked about previously. Could we talk to the engineering firm to see if they could come up with additional alternate options? Obviously, cured in place is one option. Another one might be to slip line those pipes. That would reduce some of the volume because it's a pipe within a pipe. Technology changes so fast out there, so that we could ask for alternate approaches so that when it goes out to bid, that the contractors could maybe on their own, if we give them the authority to submit an alternate bid that they think may save us money and provide us with a similar quality solution, just so we're not confining the bid to one option. And perhaps there's another option available out there that they're aware of, but we didn't give them that flexibility. So something to take a look at.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Next up is Councilmember Notaro.
No comments.
No comment. Councilmember Livingstone.
Good evening. I had a conversation with Kyle before the meeting. I had a citizen come up to me inquiring about the road signs in Bel Air and how the sun fading has affected several of them. And Kyle has assured me that those rounds happen on a semi-annual basis, and that with the implementation of our new team member, that he will be checking that. That'll be on his checklist.
That's going to be one of Aaron's new assignments. I'm happy to say we have him. Takes a lot of weight off of me, and yeah, I'll be checking that out.
Thank you very much. And just for the rest of us, if we have a home and the road signs are in your home and there's some foliage, some hedges, whatnot, that are impeding those signs, just to be aware of that and make sure for the safety of all of our residents that we take care of those, because Kyle assured me that that's our responsibility as homeowners. So thank you for that, Kyle. I welcome our new team member on board. I think he already left for the evening, and also welcome Mark to the team. So
Just as a comment, he had a very late flight. I think he got in about 3:30 this morning. So he was very tired all day. Just wanted.
I can imagine. Thank you.
Normally, we'd say there's no excuse for that. All right, Councilmember Bankert.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
No comment. All right, Councilmember Zabel.
Sure, just want to say thank you to Councilman Frank Baker for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And for admin, I will be out the next monthly council meeting. I got a corporate meeting out on the West Coast that same day.
Thank you very much. All right, Vice Mayor Shirley is out, so now I'm up. I met with the other Sand Key mayors today, along with the County Commissioner Brian Scott. We discussed alternatives for beach nourishment. Right now, it looks like the Army Corps of Engineers is unwilling to move on this project. And the clock is ticking. Every time we get a heavy rain, wind, any type of a storm, it's just whittling away at our beach. And we're in good shape compared to many of the others further south on Sand Key Island. Today was just a start. We had some lively discussion, and I think having Commissioner Scott there, the word will get back to the county commission that it's probably time that they seriously consider doing something for our beaches. Without the beaches, they would not be able to collect the amount of revenue that they do. And I think it's time that they consider giving some of that back to save our beaches. We're meeting again soon, and we're also going to take the county administrator for a little tour to show him exactly what's going on with the beaches, make sure that he's fully aware and held accountable. As we continue to discuss this and have these meetings, I will do everything I can to keep you updated during our meetings. And other than that, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And for those attending at home, I do apologize if there was a break in communication, and keep your messages coming in. If there's a failure, please notify one of us, if not the city manager, just to make him aware that maybe we should halt the meeting for a couple of minutes. And with that, all that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Motion made by Frank Banker. Do I have a second? Second. Second made by Lloyd Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Good night, everyone.
Night.
So two should. So I can ask this question on the cord.